see something that maybe you haven't had the opportunity to be exposed to before.
Doing that and seeing the magic that comes from it is what makes Blizzcon epic.
And I want to encourage you all to show them who you are and have fun this weekend. We're going to be having fun right with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President and CEO of Blizzard Entertainment, Mike Morhaime.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to BlizzCon 2013. I have been looking forward to this weekend for a long time. It is so great to be back here with all of you. I've missed you guys. That video brought back a lot of great memories for me. As we look back over the years at what makes BlizzCon so special, it's really all about you. It's about your passion as a community. It's the amazing costumes you create and wear. It's cheering for your favorite esports athletes. It's meeting in person with friends who share a common love for games. It's the simple joy of playing those games together and talking about them with other passionate people. That's what BlizzCon is all about. We originally created Blizzard with a simple idea, that if we gathered together talented and passionate gamers and made games that we ourselves were excited to play, that many of you would also enjoy our games. 22 years later, it turns out we were right. So I want to thank all of you here today, and everyone watching at home for your many years of support for Blizzard and our games. BlizzCon is our way of saying thank you. Thank you for making our dreams a reality. Thank you for your support, because without it, we really couldn't do what we do. Through the many years of Blizzard's growth, I have learned that making great quality games consistently is the hardest thing to do. It comes together because we're inspired each day by each other and by you, our extended family. Our passion and excitement for the games in this community is still going strong. So I encourage you to see for yourselves. Meet and chat with us and each other through the panels, at the tournaments, and around the game areas. You'll see that you're among family. So from everyone at Blizzard, thank you for being here and welcome home. Can you believe this is our 7th BlizzCon? So much has changed since that first show back in 2005. Back then, we only took up about half the convention center. We only sold about 4,000 tickets, and the show wasn't televised. This weekend, all of this space is for us. There are more than 20,000 of you here, and countless more watching on DirecTV and online. I want everyone here to give a big cheer to all of your friends watching at home. We have a great show planned for you. Jay Moore is back. Jay will be hosting the community contests, which always prove to be a highlight of BlizzCon. We've got a new contest this year too, in the talent show, to go along with the costume, movie, and art contests. You can watch all of that right here on the main stage tonight. Do we have any esports fans here? All right. Esports is one of my personal favorite parts of BlizzCon, and there's some great competition lined up this weekend. We have an invitational tournament for World of Warcraft with some of the best arena teams in the world. We also have the global finals for the StarCraft II World Championship Series. Hundreds of StarCraft II pro gamers have been competing for the past 8 months in 3 leagues. One here in America, one in Europe, and one in Korea. They've been competing for a spot at this weekend's grand final. And now, the best of the best are here, the top 16 StarCraft II players in the world. But only one of them will leave as world champion. Let's take a look at a short video to get us in the mood.
I'm so thrilled to be here on this final day. The top 16 WCS points earners of the season go to the Blizzcon finals.
He blinks into the melee! Oh God, pushing this back here! He's gonna kill off MVP here! Oh, he kills off the mothership core! He is everywhere! Really, really nicely placed there. Is he gonna get the immortal? Oh, he gets that as well! Oh my God, huge size going down! The mule is being absolutely shredded! Beautiful force fields! Amazing connections on the mine. If he loses this game, he is out!
Months of competition have all come down to this weekend. This is going to be a great way for us to close out 2013, a year in which we launched Heart of the Swarm and celebrated the 15th anniversary of StarCraft. Of course, we also have some upcoming games for you to check out at the show. The expansion for Diablo 3, Reaper of Souls, is here, and it's playable on both PC and PlayStation 4. You'll get to check out the new Crusader class and explore Westmarch. Tell us what you think and be sure to attend the panels for more info about the expansion. Before I move on, I want to say a few more words about Diablo. As you know, the development team has worked hard to add new features and make ongoing updates and tweaks to the game. But the biggest change is yet to come. 2 months ago, we announced that we're getting rid of the auction house. When we originally mapped out the overall game experience, it made sense to us that an item-based game should have an easy way to trade. But the auction house came with unintended consequences. The auction house took away the joy of finding that awesome weapon after killing tons of demons, or finding that hidden legendary armor in a treasure chest. That shouldn't have happened, but we're going to make it right, and we're not going to stop there. As we revealed at Gamescom, Reaper of Souls is bringing major changes to the loot system to give you more satisfying and more rewarding loot drops. We're also adding new endgame options to make things even more fun and replayable. Our goal with Diablo 3 remains unchanged, to make the ultimate monster killing and loot collecting RPG. All right. World of Warcraft players, where are you? I haven't forgotten about you guys, was just saving you for last. I want to thank all of you guys for making Mists of Pandaria such a successful launch last year. You're going to hear about our plans for the game very soon. You're also going to hear about the Warcraft movie. Duncan Jones is here, the director of the Warcraft movie. And he'll be joined by Chris Metzen and Rob Pardo at the Warcraft movie panel, which will be tomorrow at 1 p.m. right here on the main stage. Don't miss that one. There's a ton of other stuff for you to see and do this weekend. We've got more panels, lots of attractions and activities. We also have some incredible live entertainment to close out the show tomorrow. Southern California's very own Blink 182 is here. So check your schedules, and if you haven't already, download the Blizzcon mobile app for iPhone and Android to help plan out your weekend. I know a lot of you have come here to meet with friends that you've made through Blizzard games, but I also hope that many of you make new friends this weekend. All of us here are here to celebrate a hobby that we truly love. For us, at Blizzard, BlizzCon is a way for us to connect directly with all of you. As developers, we feed off the energy and excitement that you bring here. And we take that back with us to work and use it as inspiration and fuel as we work on our games. One of the things we love the most about BlizzCon is giving you a chance to be the first in the world to see and play our newest games. Your feedback will shape how these games are made. With that said, we do have a couple of new things to show you this weekend. To get things started, one of our game directors, Dustin Browder, will be coming on next to talk about Heroes of the Storm. But first, let's check out a little video. Thank you, and enjoy BlizzCon.
Come out, wherever you are.
Nuclear launch detected.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Game Director and Vice President of StarCraft II and Heroes of the Storm, Dustin Browder.
Wow, BlizzCon. Heroes of the Storm is an homage to all of the amazing games that our players have created inside our editors for many, many years. We have a long history at Blizzard of shipping our tools, our technology, and our art to our players so you can become the developer. You can make amazing games of your own. And we have been blown away by the games you have made. Our communities have helped to create the tower defense genre, a whole genre of games that's gone on to take on the world. Our community helped create this hero brawler genre that has gone on to just conquer the whole of all of gaming. So when we had a chance to make one of these games our own, we really couldn't resist. Back in 2010, we had an assignment to make one map for Blizzcon to show you how our tools worked, how good they could be, the amazing kinds of games you could create inside StarCraft 2. So we made this map that would become one day Heroes of the Storm, and we brought it to BlizzCon. And we showed it to you guys, and you guys stood in line for hours to play this game. And you gave us amazing feedback. You told us the game was awesome, and you told us really great ways how we could make the game better. So we got pretty geeked up about that. We went back to the office and we worked on the game for another year, and we brought the game back in 2011 again. And we showed it, and again you stood in line for hours to play it. And you told us, this game is awesome, you gotta do more with this. And we took the game back to the studio, and everybody in the studio said, this is really cool. You guys gotta do more with this game. And so here we are now, in 2013, with Heroes of the Storm. And that's why this game has changed its name a couple of times over the years. Because it was at one point just a map. And that's all it needed to be. It had to have a name suitable for that. And as we've taken it from BlizzCon to BlizzCon to BlizzCon, our expectations for the game have grown, your expectations for the game have grown, and now we're finally here today. And now, I'd like to show you a video of how Heroes of the Storm plays in its alpha version today.
Prepare for combat. Heroes of the Storm is Blizzard the game. It is a combination of all of our heroes, all of our villains, brought together in a single battle to the death. You're gonna be able to play as Arthas, as Kerrigan, as Diablo, as all of the heroes and villains you've come to know over the last many, many years. Many of these heroes are 10, 15 years old. They've got their own comic books, they've got their own novels, they've got their own cinematics, they've got their own games with their epic storylines all built in. But it's not just enough for us to just pay homage to the game and the games that our players have created. We've got to do something more. We've got to provide you with new challenges. We've got to challenge this genre and show you what it can become. So one of the ways we're going to do this is with our battlegrounds. And these are not just maps. These are all worlds with their own characters and their own ways to play. So we're going to take you to Blackheart's Bay. And on Blackheart's Bay, you're going to collect cursed treasure, and you're going to deliver it to an evil pirate lord. When you give him enough treasure, he's going to join you, however briefly, and turn the cannons
of his ghostly pirate ship on your enemies. You're going to go deep underground on a whole other battleground to the haunted mines. And you're going to go and collect the skulls of fallen warriors. And you're going to take those skulls back to the surface. And you're going to combine them with dark necromantic magic and create a grave golem, this massive creature that's going to charge across the battlefield, destroying enemy castles and fortifications. On a whole other battleground, we're going to take you to the Dragonshire, and there you will discover the obelisk of the sun and the obelisk of the moon. When you capture these, you'll open up the ancient dragon altar, and then you can choose one hero from your team, your chosen champion, and you can send him to the dragon altar where he'll be transformed into the Dragon Knight, an unstoppable demigod who will slay any hero foolish enough to stand in his way. All of this is playable today at Blizzcon. We have hundreds of machines for you to play this game. We've got ways for you to give us feedback. There's hundreds of developers scattered throughout this hall who would love to hear from you how we can make this game better. We have an overview panel today on this stage at 4:45. We have a deep dive tomorrow at 1:30 in Hall A, followed by a live shoutcasted match where the game developers are going to battle to the death in Heroes of the Storm for your amusement. Finally, the beta signups for Heroes of the Storm are going live today. So you can sign up for our beta, you can play the game, give us your feedback, and you'll be able to help create Blizzard's next big game. Now, before I go, I want to say that this game wouldn't be here without BlizzCon. When we came to BlizzCon, we were inspired by the art hanging on the walls, by the banners that shows all of these characters together, and we thought, wow, those are all really cool games. What if they were one game? How cool would that be? And we were inspired by you guys. You guys gave us the encouragement, you gave us the feedback, you gave us the will to go on over the many years where this is just one map until now it's its own original game. So I'd like to say, from everybody at Blizzard, thank you, BlizzCon. Thank you for helping to create Heroes of the Storm. Sorry, I forgot. I'd like to introduce the Chief Creative Officer of Blizzard Entertainment, Rob Pardo.
What up, BlizzCon? Dear Lord, there are a lot of people here. I think way off in the distance, it actually starts to fog out like a video game. Well, I'm up here today to talk to you guys about a little game called Hearthstone. So, I don't know if you guys know this, but actually Hearthstone was kind of a stealth project at Blizzard. You know, for a lot of its development, it was kind of very quiet and it was experimental. We wanted to see if we could take a small team and kind of go back to the old days of Blizzard and still create an epic Blizzard game, but with a small team. And there was actually a lot of skepticism, you know, especially with the genre that we chose to do, because a lot of people, even at Blizzard, were like, card battling games, those are pretty nerdy and geeky. Is that really gonna, you know, appeal to a big, broad audience? So what happened? So we had this fun moment at Blizzard, actually, which happened in last year. I think it was in September last year. And what happened was we did our in-company alpha. And this is something we do for a lot of our products. And we asked the whole company, hey, play the build. And what we usually have to do is we have to let people do that on the clock, because otherwise they'd rather do other work. The games usually aren't quite that much fun yet in alpha. But what we found was we had this playing for 3 weeks, and during that time period, people are staying late, you know, after hours, trying to play the game more, and during that 3-week time period, we had over 5,000 hours played. Yeah, so that's actually when we knew we had a really special game and we had a true Blizzard game. And we were super excited this year when, we announced it at PAX, and obviously we got it out to beta to, I'm sure a lot of people here are playing, and the response has just been amazing. Watching the streams, watching the players, getting the feedback. I mean, it's really been super gratifying. And Hearthstone represents several firsts for Blizzard too. Along with being experimental, it's our first free-to-play game. It's our first tablet game. And also it happens to be the first game in a really long time that we announced and got out to the public in the same year. So, all right, so how many of you guys are actually playing Hearthstone now? How many of you are not in the beta yet? Wow, less than I thought. But good news, all of you that are not in the beta yet, we are going into open beta next month. But in Blizzard speak, that might mean January. Just warning you now. So here at Blizzcon, we have Hearthstone all over the place. So we have stations where you can play the game on PC, and also if you go to the Intel booth, we have the game on tablet, which you really should go and check out. We also are having a Hearthstone exhibition tournament that includes some popular community personalities like Day9 and Husky and Kriparian. So make sure to check it out tomorrow morning at the tournament stage in Hall B. All right. So I have more good news for all the people here that are Hearthstone fans that are attending BlizzCon. And this is both for people that are here in person and on the virtual ticket. So we have a special card that only attendees are going to receive. So the team had to think for a long time. They really wanted to come up with a special card that really said BlizzCon. So I think they came up with a really great one. So I want to show you guys the Elite Tauren Chieftain. So I'll show you guys more in a second, but I want to explain a little bit how he plays. The Elite Tauren Chieftain, when you drop him onto the board, he really announces his authority like a rock star. And what will happen is he has 3 different power chord cards that are all they're different and custom, have different effects. And he'll deal 1 to each player. So it's kind of this fun sort of random card, really definitely says BlizzCon. And all the BlizzCon attendees are getting the golden version of the card, which you can kind of see behind me. And I'm going to show you guys what he actually looks like in gameplay too, because the team, they keep on doing more and more golden cards and cool animations, special effects, and every one just seems to be better than the last one that they've done. So I'll show you guys what this one looks like. So if you guys have been playing the beta, you've probably seen a lot of golden cards. We've been adding to them the beta as soon as we can make them, and it's really our intention to have all the cards have a golden version. It's a really fun collectible element. It's really fun getting the cool special effects. But I'm sure, probably it may have occurred to a lot of you that if we have all these golden cards, why aren't we doing golden versions of the heroes themselves? So I'm here to tell you guys today that that's exactly what we're working on. We're working on versions of the golden heroes. So the way that the golden heroes are going to work is you're going to actually earn them in the new ranked play mode. And I'll show you kind of an early version of what their animations are going to look like. So you can see they're going to be fully animated just like the golden cards themselves. And what will happen is in the new ranked play mode that we're creating right now, you'll be able to earn those. And you'll be able to unlock each class one at a time. So with the ranked play mode, we know that a lot of you really love the arena mode. And our goal has really been to make a ranked play mode that's just as much fun as arena mode and really makes constructed play really rewarding. So make sure that you come to this hall at 2:15 today and see the design team, because they're going to talk a lot more ranked play mode, golden heroes, and all the other stuff that's coming out in Hearthstone. But oh yeah, I have actually one more piece of Hearthstone news though. A lot of you guys, I know, have maybe heard about the tablet version but haven't got to see it yet. So at Blizzard, a lot of us actually prefer to play it on tablet. And unfortunately, there's just no easy way to put that out in a beta test. But once you play the tablet version, you can play on the couch. A lot of people at Blizzard, that's what they like to do. But I also know that not everyone actually has tablets. So we want to announce another platform that we're actually working on, which is the iPhone version. What? So both the iPhone and the Android version are in development right now at Blizzard. It's still really early on, but we're hoping to have them out probably in the second half of next year. So Hearthstone isn't the only news that's going on in the Warcraft universe. Can you guys actually believe we're going to have a Warcraft movie? Honestly, I can't believe it. We started this thing back in 2006, and that's a long product development schedule even for us. So like Mike mentioned, we're super excited to have the director of the movie out here at Blizzcon, Duncan Jones. So he's going to be here tomorrow. And we also are going to have Bill Westenhofer on the panel also. He's the special effects supervisor, and he's actually an Oscar award-winning special effects supervisor that did Life of Pi and Golden Compass. And more importantly, he's played World of Warcraft all the way from the beginning and has a level 90 character. So, but when I really look at Hearthstone and I think about like the Warcraft movie, it's like just how far we've all come together in this franchise, and all in front of you guys, and it's really humbling. It's hard to believe it, but this month is going to be World of Warcraft's 9th birthday. Personally, I've actually been working on or playing World of Warcraft most of my adult life. And it kind of makes me think back to how I got my start. I think a lot of game designers around my age, my generation, we got our start in a very similar sort of way. We would have our first game design experience actually playing Dungeons & Dragons. And, as a dungeon master, I really learned early on that it's not just about creating experiences for your players. It's really about taking that journey with them and really having, that entertainment experience as a partnership that you really take on together. So I just thought, thinking about those old days and just thinking about World of Warcraft the same way, maybe we could look back on some of the journeys that we've all taken together. So does anyone here know what the first battleground was in World of Warcraft? Well, the thing was, it wasn't actually designed as a battleground. It was in the Hillsbrad foothills. The epic battles between South Shore and Terran Mill. And, I remember back in those days when I was a orc shaman and all I wanted to do was get to my flight master. And just seeing him dead and realize, Alliance scum again. So, another thing that I think really brings back a lot of memories is maybe our first raid together against the Black Dragon in Nixia. And back then, you raided with 40 players, 40 of your closest friends and guildies. It was kind of a mess. And probably the worst thing you would hear in guild chat is more whelps. Or what about, do you guys remember the first time that you could actually go through the Dark Portal? And we really wanted to make that this epic, majestic experience. And for us to be able to go through that together, and it was also the first time that we had flying mounts. And you could actually fly over the lands of Outland. Of course, I think maybe we should have thought a little more carefully about the ramifications in PvP, where we introduced the whole concept of a swoop and gank. Sorry about that. All right, so I have another question for you guys. How many of you were there the day on your realm when the gates of Encourage opened? You know, this is like the most epic world event in World of Warcraft history. The only problem was, as game designers, it didn't really occur to us it might not be the right idea to have everyone on a realm go to the exact same place at the same time. And I just want to apologize in front of all of you to our server engineers for not consulting them first. All right, but you know, last but not least, I think another kind of fun event to talk about was, I think, the first pandemic in virtual world history when we introduced Zul Guru. Who could forget the corrupted blood debuff and trying to go into Ironforge and everything was desolate? I think this might be the only MMO event that has its own Wikipedia entry. But that's the thing, though. As developers, like even when we mess up, you know, we're able to kind of create these memories that as a community we share together. You know, and that's one of the things that I love about Blizzcon itself, is that it creates these shared memories, because all of you remember all these memories for yourselves with your guild on your realm, but when you come to Blizzcon, you can talk about how it happened on your server or on your server. And it's something, and we share these experiences just like back in the day with Dungeons & Dragons. And that's like one of my favorite things about BlizzCon, is really getting to meet people that are in the community and players, and really be a player like you guys and be able to talk about these events and share these events. But I actually think my absolute favorite part of BlizzCon is watching all these players within the community that have all these virtual relationships and guilds and friendships. But when you come to BlizzCon, you get to sometimes meet each other for the first time and create lifelong friendships. And I think that's one of the things that's really special about BlizzCon. So on behalf of everyone at Blizzard, I want to thank all of you for letting us be your Dungeon Master all these years. But I don't want you to think that the journey's over yet. So I want to welcome to the stage my creative partner for many, many years to introduce to you the next chapter in World of Warcraft. So please give a huge ovation for Chris Metzen.
Yes! Goodness gracious, guys, it is awesome to be back here again with you this year. And I'm going to apologize up front as usual. I'm totally peaked. It is going to be okay. You know, as Rob was saying, it is such an amazing time to be part of this thing called Warcraft. With the feature film and development, it's really good. At long last, with the debut of Hearthstone and all the ongoing development, you know, that we're normally doing on the game, oh boy, this is one of those moments. Yeah, geek is forgetting your lines. With all of these things in development, we have been thinking a lot about Warcraft, about what makes it tick. What makes it distinct? What is it about it after all these years, coming up on almost 19 years? We've been working on this thing. What keeps us coming back to it? What keeps it fresh for us? Oh, thank you. We've been thinking a lot about the early days. How many of you were around and with us during the events of Orcs and Humans? Really? All right. Tides of Darkness. And Beyond the Dark Portal. Guys, these original games, like this original trilogy of RTS games, it's where it kind of all comes from. It's where the DNA of Warcraft has always come from. The events of those games, the characters, the storylines, the places they went to really predicate everything that's happening in the modern era of WoW. In many ways, they're kind of like the origin points for your factions. Alliance, you here? Horde, where you at? Hey, Horde, check it out. Just because you guys went and got yourselves a troll as a new war chief, it doesn't mean I ain't with you. Many miles to go. So as we're thinking about all those moments, all of the adventure that came back in the day, and I love to hear that many of you actually played those games, you kind of stop to consider that there is a huge amount of World of Warcraft players that never lived those events, never met those characters, never really engaged with those storylines or that part of the adventure. And, you know, as we start thinking about where Warcraft goes, what are we doing? What are we working on? How are we pushing forward with this ongoing adventure? Man, you know, a lot of that content sure makes the wheels turn. And ultimately, as many of you probably know, the modern story of Warcraft really begins about 30 years ago. 30 game years. Ain't that old. When some knucklehead decided it would be a really good idea to open a dark portal between Azeroth and this dark, savage world called Draenor. And through that portal came an army of brutal, demon-pumped savages that took the world right to the edge. Led by characters like Red T-shirt guy. Damn it, not him. Led by characters like Blackhand and Kilrog, Ner'zhul, Gul'dan, Hellscream. Some of the baddest dudes ever in the Warcraft franchise. These guys almost had their way. They almost conquered the entirety, well, then of the Eastern Kingdoms. And boy, if they had, history would have taken a very different turn. If not for the most unlikely thing happening. The races of Azeroth. Humans, we got any humans in the room? It's kind of a weird question to ask. Dwarves, where are you at? Sons of Cosmodan. We don't have any high elves in the room. High elf cosplayers? Couple. Gnomes, where are you at? Come on, we secretly love you. It's complicated. The various cultures of Azeroth, who were never fast friends. There was no love lost between them. They had no common heritage, they had no common history. They really didn't like each other down this stretch of years. But in the face of this onslaught, in response to these badass orc leaders, they came together. And they founded a union based on honor and righteousness and a deep-seated drive to dispense indiscriminate justice upon those who threaten their homelands. This alliance saved the world. Alliance, do you remember who you are? You are the Alliance of Lordaeron, champions of justice. And I love you for it. Damn it, you're the Captain America faction. And I love you for that. So what a trip. All those years, fictional, from then to now. Especially concluding or including the events of the Siege of Orgrimmar. Alliance, do you get it yet? You remain the world's standing superpower. How does that feel? Don't worry, Horde. There is honor to be served. Loktar. So when you think about all that history and all that context, or when we think about it, a really interesting question comes to mind. We asked ourselves, well, what if those dark days could come again? What if a pantheon of the most vicious villains ever in Warcraft could threaten our homes, our lands, our way of life all over again? And in the face of that, Alliance, how would you respond now? There was a few suggestions. Can you guys repeat? I didn't. I know how you'd respond. With righteousness and honor. Weapons primed. The conflict to come, I believe, will be the Alliance's finest hour. The dark days ahead will test you. Your values, your ethics, how do you fight a savage enemy without remorse, without becoming savage yourself? It's a good question. And Horde. Horde, you're here, right? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Much better. Horde, you've taken some lumps lately, and not just from the Alliance. You had to live with the disappointment of Thrall's choices. I'd apologize for him, but we don't speak anymore. You had to live with the consequence of Garrosh's reign of terror. And you had a bunch of gnomes and elves running through the streets of your city. I can't imagine you enjoyed that a lot. But in the face of all that, Horde, under the leadership of Vol'jin, you have a chance, right on. You have a chance at a new start. A chance to redefine yourselves in this brave new world. But as is often true, to forge a brighter future, sometimes you must confront the ghosts of the past. And I believe in the adventure to come, Horde, there will be honor to be served, and there will be asses to be kicked. There will be much heroism for all. So, are you guys ready? Are you with me, Blizzcon? Let's get this thing done. Friends, champions, fellow defenders of Azeroth, Blizzard is proud to present to you the next expansion set for World of Warcraft. We call it Warlords of Draenor!
the lifeblood of this world. We are its children. Soon, its masters. Ours is a legacy of conquest. Rising tide of blood and iron that will wash over this world and all others. Our bond is iron. Our will unbreakable. Who will stand against us?
Oh, hell yeah! Right back to the start, kinda. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that announcement. I imagine you have a lot of questions. We have a lot of answers. Don't worry, it all makes sense. So, guys, again, thank you for being here with us this weekend. You'll never know what a thrill this is for us to be here with you and to share these games. Have fun this weekend. Take care of each other, have a blast. And if you have more questions, by the way, about Warlords of Draenor, I just love saying it. We're gonna have a panel at 12:30 on this stage. The Dead Team is gonna explain the whole giddy up to you. So come back at 12:30 if you're interested. And at the end of the day, welcome to Blizzcon!
You're watching Blizzcon 2013, an original DirecTV production since 2008. Level up to DirecTV at directtv.com.
That wraps up the opening ceremony of BlizzCon 2013, but we are back here at the anchor desk. Jeff Keighley along with Cat Hunter, and right off stage, it's our good friend Mike Marheim. Mike, it's great to have you back with us for BlizzCon. We missed you last year, but now you got so much stuff for gamers to play.
I know, great to see you guys.
Good to see you.
We're so excited. So big announcement inside of the opening ceremony. There's Chris Metzen, obviously announcing the new Warcraft expansion, but let me ask you something else, because I think this is the first year I feel like you've got some Heroes of the Storm, Hearthstone, you've got some new franchises as well to share with your fans. How excited are you guys about showing new things to the fans?
We're very excited. You know, just looking at outside the hall and watching all 5 banners of, you know, each of these games, and they're all really awesome. We're very proud of them.
I was amazed at the amount of response from the audience during the Heroes of the Storm trailer. It was probably the loudest point of the entire ceremony.
Yeah.
What did it feel like backstage during that?
Oh, look, it was great, you know.
Your own Smash Brothers. I mean, you have like everyone coming together like that. You know, it's amazing to see the energy of that and the fact that people are playing this here. So let me ask you about that game, because I think a lot of people have been wondering about it when it's coming out. You know, a lot of the StarCraft guys are working on that. We don't have the next, StarCraft here. So has that team sort of focused more on that right now, because that's a priority
right now,
title?
Heroes of the Storm is a big focus. You know, we just launched Heart of the Swarm earlier in the year. So, you know, we have started working on Legacy of the Void, but we're not announcing anything about that today.
Right.
Let me ask you about this game. It did start off as a map, and now it's a full-fledged game here on the floor. From a CEO perspective, can you walk me through kind of the development of that business decision for Blizzard?
Well, I think, you know, we were as we were developing it as a map, we just realized that that really wasn't doing justice to what this could eventually be. And you know, as we worked on it more and more, we realized that that we really need to devote a lot of attention to allow it to achieve its potential.
Right.
And
go ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
going to say, and another cool thing you guys have here is PlayStation 4 Diablo. You guys are back in the I think it's.
Yeah.
Can't remember the last BlizzCon where there was console demos like that here. That must be exciting for you guys to finally be on, you know, and a next generation console.
Yeah, and it looks great on the PS4.
Yeah. So that'll be coming out next year.
No.
Or yeah, it is coming out next year.
All right, cool.
To talk about Diablo, one of the things you started off your speech with was mentioning the fact that they're closing the auction house. So that was one of the biggest surprises for me. It wasn't we're going to tweak the auction house, we're going to close it because it's the right decision for the community. Yeah. That's a big step for you because a lot of work went in to launch this.
Oh, you can't even, you have no idea how much work went into launching it. But ultimately, you know, we looked at what it was doing to the game. We looked at the feedback we were getting from our players.
All right, Mike, we got to hold on for 1 second. We do have to say goodbye to our friends who are watching on the Audience Network. You can go to the BlizzCon virtual ticket, though, if you want to see the rest of our coverage. Mike will be back with us in just a second to finish his answer. But thanks for watching live on the Audience Network on DirecTV. BlizzCon continues on the virtual ticket right now at BlizzCon.com.
Defenders of Azeroth!
And we're back. Sorry for really interrupting Mike, but we had to say goodbye to our Audience Network friends. And now we're back live on the BlizzCon virtual ticket with Mike and pay-per-view. So Mike, sorry, finish your answer.
I have no idea what I was saying. That was very
appropriate to do.
Yeah.
You know?
I was just asking you about the amount of work that went into the auction house, but the decision to close it because it's right for the community.
Yeah, so we got a lot of feedback from players about the impact the auction house was having on the game. We looked at it, you know, and it really did impact the. You know, if you spent time in the auction house, it was the easiest way to get the best items.
Yeah.
And items better than what you had were not very expensive. So, so it was something we've been thinking about for a while, and then we saw the response after we released the Xbox 360 and PS3 version of the game.
With Loot 1.5.
Yeah, without an auction house. And yeah, we realized it was just the right thing to do. So we have this opportunity with the expansion to remove the auction house, change the way that, that loot drops work, and just try to make a better game.
I got to say, that it says a lot for Blizzard that you guys would make a decision based on what's right for the community, not how much investment went in to build something. It was impressive to me this year to see.
And I think that's, you know, what's really interesting is, you know, there's a lot of talk now about different business models for Blizzard, and, you know, obviously had World of Warcraft, lots of subscribers there, but now I think you're seeing something like Heroes of the Storm experimenting with free-to-play, you know, going on to consoles. When you look forward to, you know, Blizzard and the types of games you're going to build, do you see the business models you guys are pursuing going to be different? I mean, can we ever see like World of Warcraft go free-to-play, or I mean, are there more bold moves coming?
Well, we've always approached the business model as something that grows out of what's appropriate for each individual game. So we don't have this overarching, you know, we're only going to do certain business model type of games. I think in the case of World of Warcraft, you know, the first 20 levels are free.
Yep.
So anybody can download World of Warcraft, play the first 20 levels of their character without paying a subscription. But it wasn't designed as a free-to-play game.
Right.
So, so I don't really see that type of transition happening in World of Warcraft, although we're constantly looking at ways to make the game more accessible to new players.
Right.
Now
Expansion's going to cost something, though, right?
It will.
It will.
Yeah.
The excitement around Hearthstone, speaking about free-to-play, has been tremendous. I've been overwhelmed by the amount of people casting it on YouTube, talking about it on podcasts. What has it been like inside Blizzard to see the reaction to this game just in beta?
It's been great. You know, we've been playing the game internally for a while now, and you know, we've all kind of felt we were onto something special. So it's really great to see the community react so positively to it.
Was there ever a point at the beginning where you said maybe this game isn't right for Blizzard? You know, maybe the card game isn't right, or maybe free-to-play isn't right?
Well, the thing is, you know, we had the World of Warcraft physical trading card game that has been out for a while, and that was a lot of fun to play. So we knew that we had a base game that was just a lot of fun, and we felt if we could make that more accessible, put it on a computer, that we knew we could make a really fun game. I don't know that we really knew that how big it could be until we were further along in development.
Now, Mike, one thing I want to ask you about is a game that's been teased on BlizzCon many past years, Titan. A lot of rumors about what was happening with that this year. Some news came out that you guys are maybe sort of rebooting it or kind of going back to basics. What can you tell us about that product? Is it still something that will eventually come out?
Well, you know, we've been pretty transparent about what's been happening. You know, you're talking about our unannounced project, which honestly, it's a little awkward to be talking so much about that. But what we found is, you know, we've been working on this game, and we recognized that the path that we were on was not going to yield a Blizzard quality result in a reasonable time frame. So we took a step back. We asked a lot of really hard questions about what we were doing and what should we be doing, and I think we've come up with something really great.
Okay. So you're actually...
That's all I can tell you.
That's all I can tell you.
But is it a different game, obviously, than what you're originally envisioning?
It is pretty different than what we originally set out to do.
Okay. All right. Well, no more news on that here, I guess. But in the Blizzard labs, you guys are working on some cool new things. Like, that's what fans are excited about, is that what is that next generation experience? So we'll stay tuned for another BlizzCon for that.
Well, let me ask you about WCS tournament, which I know you're a big fan. What was some of your favorite moments or your favorite moment leading up to today's tournaments?
Wow, it's been a pretty exciting 3 seasons. You know, I think everybody was really looking forward to see what was going to happen with the Naniwa Revival match that happened just last week. And, you know, so Naniwa's here. Now it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Of course, he's matched up against the #1 seed, so that's going to be rough. But we've got all of these players are so good. So, you know, it's been fun kind of speculating about what's going to happen this weekend, and nobody really knows.
It's up for grabs at this point, I think.
Fantastic. All right, well, Mike, thank you so much for hanging out with us here. I'm sure we'll be seeing you throughout the weekend because we've got lots of panels, a lot of guests. Tomorrow, Mike will be back with us again.
We will have him.
Everyone's asking me on Twitter how to get that shirt, so you're going to have to tell us that tomorrow.
I know. Well, thank you guys for watching at home. We appreciate the support.
Absolutely. Well, we got lots more coming, but right now we're going to check in with Kim, who's hanging out with some of the fans of Blizzard. Let's check in with Kim.
What an epic opening ceremony and a great way to kick off the next 2 days of BlizzCon. The room is filled with so much energy. Everyone is leaving Hall D now to go check out everything. I've stopped some people here to talk to me. I want to know, what did it feel like to sit in the audience and experience that open ceremony? And also, what are you most excited about?
It was a nice experience. I know it was fun seeing all the new releases, being the first one into it. I'm most excited about the new World of Warcraft expansion, for sure. It's my main game, so excited for that, and hoping it's going to be fun.
Great. And what about you? How did it feel to sit out there, and what are you most excited about?
So much excitement in the crowd. Everyone was cheering, and I really felt like a sense of community, but I'm most excited for Heroes of the Storm, I think.
I think
everyone is together and all the characters. I'm pretty excited.
That was a really awesome cinematic, wasn't it?
God, everyone was stoked, and I don't know, the energy was great.
How about you guys? So tell me, what are you most excited about and this experience here?
Definitely the World of Warcraft experience. I've played since I was 13 years old. Sitting with everybody in the crowd when they asked us to all cheer, it was like sitting in the middle of a thunderstorm. Everyone stood up, was cheering, it was great. And I can't wait to start looking at the new character models and the new area of Draenor. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you can be able to fly there. It'll be pretty cool. Everybody knows what I'm saying. Yeah.
What about you? Love the face makeup, by the way.
Thank you. Just mostly looking forward to the new expansion. Me and a few Gilly's been pitching a few theories of what the expansion is going to be, and apparently I was the closest one to actually predicting it correctly with the Draenor and all that. Since I stick to the lore, it's pretty much awesome.
That's great. So, how many of you have been to BlizzCon before? Is this your first time? First time. What about you guys? 4 times. All right. So I'm going to let you guys go run out there. I just want to know, where is the first place you're going to head to when I let you guys go?
Definitely the World of Warcraft Arena Finals.
Heroes of the Storm.
Where are we going?
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft. This is my buddy. He's my captain on this one.
Well, great. I hope you guys have a great time out there. I'm going to head over to the StarCraft 2 World Championship Series. This is going to be an epic weekend. I hope you guys have fun.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Kim. Great to hang out with the fans there. And now we're back here at the anchor desk with Chris Metzen right off stage, powering up the crowd with the new expansion.
That was fun.
That's one of your most impassioned BlizzCon openings I've seen in a while.
It's like the same old thing. Like every year, like it doesn't actually get easier. Like so, my nerves are shot and wigging out. So like that energy, I guess, just kind of comes out. And it's a whole game of like not going too, not making a total ass out of myself, but it's getting.
Well, it's been a while
done.
it's been a while since the BlizzCon. You got some big news for the fans there, and I think there's more news coming because I know you're very involved in the Warcraft movie, and you guys didn't say much in the opening ceremony, but tomorrow there's that panel.
Yeah.
You're going to be on it with Duncan. I mean, we're going to get hopefully some real information on the movie too, right?
After all these years of coming to BlizzCon and having all the questions, people go, how's the movie going, and not really being able to say much. This year, we're gonna come at it with some pretty concrete stuff. So I'm excited to hear what Duncan has to say. It'll be much more informative than previous years.
Like cast or story, or what are we going to find out about tomorrow?
I kind of want to save the reveal, but let's just say it will not be unclear.
Okay.
After tomorrow, what this movie is about, the pocket of Warcraft that it deals with.
Oh, awesome. Okay, fantastic. Well, that'll be great to get some. So that's things. The news continues here at BlizzCon. So it wasn't in the opening ceremony, but tomorrow, as you mentioned, I think 12:30 Pacific or something. There's the panel tomorrow, so we'll check that out.
I think is it 1 o'clock? It might be 1, maybe 12:30.
Okay, cool.
Right. And we will be covering that live on the broadcast tomorrow. So
Absolutely.
if you want to see what's going to be announced and what this movie is going to be, this is where you want to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic.
So you started off your speech in a very unconventional way, which I'm very grateful for, being an Alliance player myself, but you brought a little bit of pride and respect back to the Alliance, which I think that we sometimes forget who we are.
Right.
Where did that come from?
I think, honestly, over time, I mean, I look at the internet too, and, the Alliance community, I think, has been very vocal with this, I'll call it a conspiracy theory, that, Blizzard developers don't love the Alliance as much as the Horde, and it's just absolutely, it's just not true. But I've thought about it a lot over time. I've thought about the storylines they've called out, and the storylines or the character moments that they'll call out for the Horde, and I'm like, well, that's really interesting. It's not like we love the Alliance less, or there's less to do with the Alliance, but I think sometimes, I've heard it said this way. This is a little weird, this is theory crafting, right? But I've heard it said this way with comic writers, right? That writing Wolverine's kind of easy, right? It's this really compelling, gritty kind of thing, but writing guys like Superman and Captain America can be very difficult because they're so morally upright, and that's what fans love about characters like that, that it can be really difficult to kind of summon storylines where these very upright characters are very dimensional, because they don't make mistakes, they don't, and so I wonder in a way sometimes that maybe that takes effect in our development, that the Horde's a little easier to get gritty with and really sink your fingernails into some of that content, and the Alliance, they're the lawful good, faction, like where do you go, so it's a little harder, but it is not remotely impossible. It's actually really fun work, and it's something we're very mindful of, and I kind of just wanted to give a shout out to the Alliance, because when I think about these old games and I think about Warlords of Draenor, the first frame of reference I get into is the Alliance. Right. If I'm an Alliance champion, you're just going, oh hell, not this again. It's kind of your worst nightmare coming true.
That was when they bonded together and became who they were.
Totally.
So let's jump directly into this next expansion. How are we getting there, and what is it?
Right. At the panel coming up here in a little bit, we're going to get into it quite a bit, but it does involve
Scooping the panel. Yes.
It does involve the character of Garrosh, the former Horde war chief that was deposed very recently during the siege of Orgrimmar, and it has a lot to do with how much should I? I'll just say
They're going to find out in 30 minutes.
We're going to find out in 30 minutes. Garrosh ultimately is going to be put on trial, but he escapes before justice can be done, and with a special friend of his that might have some time-traveling powers, he's going to go back to the 70s. He's going to go back to when classic rock, was bringing it back to the time when the world made sense to him, when all the heroes that he grew up with, the stories that he was told as a young man, when these guys are still in their prime. And his intent is to redeem the Orcish ideal.
Okay.
And to prevent the one moment that changed history, when the Orcs were first corrupted, to stop that from happening.
Not drinking the blood.
Not drinking the blood of Manaroth, and to forge those clans into a horde, but a very different kind of horde, through which ultimately, in his mind, he will exact his revenge in our time.
Okay.
Against the Alliance and Horde that have done him wrong. Yeah.
Does that mean that we're going to be fighting him again at the end of this expansion?
You know, a good question. I guess I want to be very clear with our fans that Garrosh is important to facilitating the storyline. Everything I told you is true. But he is not, in fact, going to be the boss of the expansion set. He's not the Lich King or the Illidan of this chapter, but he sure gets things in motion. You know, so who the real boss is and how this whole thing escalates and ultimately endangers our time. We're gonna let that ride a little bit more and let people kind of have fun theory crafting.
Let me ask one question before Jeff asks, which I'm sure he has plenty. There's some clarification from Twitter. Who is the Orc War Chief?
Who is the Orc? I've seen it too. Who is the Orc racial leader? In truth, we haven't actually determined that yet, but I'll tell you where my gut is, with the caveat that we may change it. At this time, for this chapter, I actually don't want it to be Thrall. He's the obvious answer. I'd like it to go to Sourfang or Eitrig, probably Sourfang, who's a fan favorite and a very noble orc. I think orcs would be happy to be rolling with him for a while, but with Warlords of Draenor, Thrall's got some business to do. He's got some family business to take care of, and he's going to solve a lot of problems with his hammer in this one. And I apologize for spitting. I can see it flying out across.
They can't see it.
Now, I know we're waiting for some questions coming on Twitter for you. You can tweet us at Jeff Keighley and at Cat Hunter with questions on that. One thing I wanted to ask you about, Chris, was Heroes of the Storm. And we saw that trailer. Everyone got really excited about, all the characters coming together from sort of a lore and story perspective. Is that just fun, or I mean, how does that all tie together?
It's totally fun. It's asinine, right? It's out of control, right? But I look at it like it's like Lego Batman, or we're playing Lego Marvel right now with my 5-year-old, and I love that kind of stuff. As a younger man, trying to get big franchises built, I didn't like the crossovers as much, but these days, I think they're so much fun. And I saw that video come up. We were standing backstage, and that's one of the loudest roars of the morning, And boy, if that doesn't confirm, kind of how we see it. It's just this really fun romp, putting all these flavors into the pot and just having a blast with it, right? So that was a nice confirmation that people are really excited about these characters and see them ultimately beat the brains out of each other. So
I want to ask you one question just to get out of the way for our viewers, because it was one of the biggest questions we had before this, is why haven't we seen an Emerald Dream expansion? Every time that's what they're expecting.
I mean, I'll say, there's the Emerald Dream, there's kind of this idea of like a South Seas kind of thing. We've seen this on the internet over the years, like a lot of different types of expanded content that we could be getting into. Recently I saw the rumors about like a Burning Legion expansion set. What I would say is all of those are really exciting ideas. I would, as a fan myself, I want to get to it all. When we get to the point of deciding what the next expansion set will be, we weigh a lot of factors. I can tell you about the Emerald Dream in particular, is that it's a really good idea. I don't know that it's a really good idea for a place to visit, perhaps have some raid content, perhaps have some procedural kind of scenario type content, but has its own breathing world. Trying to string 6 zones together that are all green and lush is conceptually challenging. So it's not one of the first ones we run to every time, but we talk about it every time. But I think the Emerald Dream, as a developer, I think its best use is kind of as this really awesome subset of a larger expansion set, kind of like the Elemental Planes in Cataclysm.
Okay.
All right. Well, Chris, thanks for swinging by. It sounds like you've got a lot more to do here at BlizzCon over the next 2 days, and that Warcraft movie panel tomorrow. We'll look forward to some news on that, so we'll be checking in with you again. Thanks for stopping by. Now, one thing we're going to check out right now that you may not know about is the StarCraft 2 arcade scene. Well, to find out more about that, we headed to Blizzard. Check this out.
I'm Jordan Womack. I'm one of the producers on Team 1, the team that makes StarCraft 2. So Blizzard fans have a long history of creating their own content using our tools and assets after we've released the game and made the tools accessible to the public. Arcade is a dedicated space for those creators to show off their games, to reach out and interact with fans of their games, to get feedback, and to continue pursuing making their vision available to a bunch of players. For players, it's a place to go to always find something new. So when players come to check out Arcade, they're going to find a lot of things that I think people are familiar with and are really popular genres, like Dota games, action RTS kind of experiences. There's a lot of stuff going on in the tower defense genre. And then there's stuff where people have got their brand new wacky ideas, everything from doing a new storyline around the StarCraft campaigns to RPG games where you're building a character and going on long story-based adventures, and even new forms of gameplay. We see interesting kind of out-of-the-box stuff all the time, and that's one of the things that's most exciting about exploring games in Arcade. So the community around Arcade is a really dedicated group of people. They spend a ton of time crafting their ultimate creation and bringing their vision out to share with both other creators who are super engaged in the tools and the excitement of making their visions come to life, and the players. We find that players who are engaged with Arcade games can spend hundreds and hundreds of hours in a week playing with some of this custom content. I'm really excited to announce that with StarCraft's patch 2.1 coming later this year, we're actually making all of Arcade completely free to anyone. You don't even need to own a copy of StarCraft. You just download the game, grab your Starter Edition account, and go to town, and all the content in Arcade is free for everyone. On a day-to-day basis, what's most exciting about Arcade is there's always something fresh. With genres that you've seen a lot of games in, something like tower defense, people are still coming up with new ways to riff on that, new ideas to push the boundaries there. And you see those ideas from the very beginning. They can be kind of rough, but very interesting, and people remix that. They grab each other's ideas and they make the next cool thing and the next cool thing, and the community kind of keeps up with that and keeps pushing it forward. So that's why I love playing in Arcade. As for the future, I think the next big thing I'm super looking forward to is opening Arcade to the public, making it free to anyone who wants to come and check it out. I think this is really exciting, not only because there's more people for me to play with, but for the creators who spent so much time and energy making cool new content, they can now reach the world through our platform.
All right, that was a behind-the-scenes look at the StarCraft 2 arcade scene, and now Kat and I are back here on the BlizzCon stage with the one and only Rob Pardo. Rob, good to see you.
Good to see you. It's fun being back at BlizzCon.
I know we've had a year off, but same faces and a lot of new games though, and a lot of new content for the fans across all devices now too for Blizzard, right? It's cool now. We're talking about stuff on consoles. You announced that you're obviously coming to Android and iOS. So it must be exciting for you guys to be sort of expanding your horizons a bit here.
Yeah, no, it's super exciting. Like when I walked up to the Anaheim Convention Center and see like 5 banners up on the walls, like wait, this is the Blizzard convention, right? Like 5 games. Yeah.
And that's how have things really changed from a development perspective with 5 games being active right now? Actually, more than that when you think of everything else going on, to when you just had 1 game in 2008.
It's super challenging. I mean, the thing is, it's like exciting because we have lots of games going on, but it's also, you get to a place now where you don't even know everything that's happening even within the studio.
Yeah.
For me, it's like I have to kind of focus on 2 or 3 games and, occasionally get pulled into the other games when they need me.
Right.
But, it used to be the day where it's like we have 1 game and you're like totally focused. So it's like you have that trade-off. Super exciting for the company and I think for the fans.
Right.
But, as an individual person, you just get stretched across everything.
It's true. What do you think was the highlight of the crowd from the announcements this morning based on your feeling of the feedback? The energy?
Certainly within my announcement, there was a lot of excitement about the Android version of Hearthstone.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, that was a roar
I knew people were going to be excited, but I underestimated it.
Yeah.
So yeah, people are super excited about that, and I think if you look at the Warlords of Draenor, lots of people are excited about the character models, and we knew that going in.
That got a roar when you kind of did that review of the character
we knew.
models.
I was really happy to hear the crowd reaction on it.
So I definitely want to get into some of those WoW announcements, but going back to Hearthstone, Android next year, like you mentioned, towards the last half. But tablet, you gave a wide berth. You said maybe next month, all the way towards the beginning of next year. How is the internal alpha testing going at Blizzard right now? Because you did tweet that is in progress.
Yeah, no, the tablet version is actually coming along great.
Yeah.
It's almost at the same level as the PC. So once we really don't anticipate the tablet being that far behind the release of the PC.
Perfect.
So what's going to happen, we're going to go open beta on the PC, which will happen, like I said, next month, might drag into January.
Right.
And then hopefully very shortly after that, we'll have the tablet version done.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be, that'll definitely be in the first half of next year, hopefully in the first quarter.
And you did announce you are going to be able to play PC versus iPad users. It will be a total pool.
That's been one of the big challenges that we wanted to make sure that we solved, was you authenticate through Battle.net on the tablet version, and that way your card collection's synced. So you don't have to rebuy it, and once you go and get the tablet, if you've been playing on PC, all your cards and your whole card collection's there for you.
Okay. Speaking of tablet, actually, the Warlords of Draenor trademark did mention mobile, which I understand sometimes you're just hedging your bet. But are there plans for WoW on mobile?
There's no real plans for WoW on mobile right now. I mean, it's something that we always have the WoW Armory app, and that's been kind of more the focus on mobile.
Right.
But, I would say that it's always something we talk about. So there's always that opportunity down the line that we may talk about it, but no plans right now.
All right, we got some questions from Twitter coming in for you, Rob. First one is from Christian. And Christian wants to know, is it possible that Hearthstone may expand and include StarCraft and Diablo characters down the road? Sorry.
One more time?
StarCraft and Diablo characters, Hearthstone, is that something on the roadmap down the road?
For right now, like Hearthstone is completely Warcraft based.
Right.
So I wouldn't imagine that we would change that game to include the other games.
Okay.
But if Hearthstone's like super popular and is doing great, maybe someone in Blizzard will want to make, something themed in a different universe.
Right.
But Hearthstone itself is always going to be Warcraft.
Okay. And we have a question here on Twitter from Lou, and she wants to know, are all of the character skins getting re-rendered, or what are you going to be launching with?
Oh, for World of Warcraft?
For World of Warcraft.
Yeah, they're all going to get redone. They won't necessarily all be in at the same time.
Okay.
But they're all going to get redone.
All right. Do you know which ones that will be the first to be released?
We actually haven't decided yet. We're talking a lot about that internally right now.
Okay.
Fantastic. All right, well, let's see what else people are asking on. This is a question that I'm sure you probably don't necessarily have an answer for, but Martin's asking, will Hearthstone ever get a Windows phone app, or is it just going to stick to iOS and Android?
Yeah, no, I think we'll probably be able to do the Windows version also, because we're doing Windows tablets.
Okay.
So
like Surface and things like that.
Yeah, so I kind of assume that, the biggest challenge with doing the phone version is going to be to get the art into a format that is really playable on a really small window.
Right.
So I think once we have that solved, it's not going to be that hard to bring it to Android or to Windows.
Okay.
Right. All right, that's a fair question.
Let's talk about the WoW announcement as well towards the end. There's something that went by very quickly they may not have caught, which is instant boost to 90. What does that mean?
Yeah, so that's going to be a really big change for this World of Warcraft expansion and quite possibly future ones. A lot of the challenges have been with WoW over the years is maybe I stopped playing the game 2 or 3 years ago, but this expansion sounds really exciting and maybe it's the time that I want to re-engage with the game. But the problem is you don't get to engage with the new content. You might be 2 expansions behind, and you want to come in and play in Pandaria, or you want to come play in Warlords of Draenor, but you're stuck in Dalaran with no portals out, right? Like that's the experience, and we really wanted to solve that. We want that to be something that if you want to come back to World of Warcraft, come play with your friends right away. We've obviously tried things like Recruit a Friend, and that program's still going to be out there. We felt like, at this point, if people want to come and play at the beginning of the new expansion, let's give them the ability to do it.
Is it going to be one character, or have you worked out the details of exactly what that's going to mean?
Yeah, so the plan is that if you buy the expansion box, you can boost any one character up to level 90.
Wow.
So what you can do is you can either make a brand new character and take them all the way from level 1 to 90, or what I'm hoping people will do is actually take their old main character that they really loved and boost them to 90. Because I think people have a lot more attachment to a character they played.
They do.
But it's going to be, I think, tricky to get players to want to do that versus take the level 1 all the way up.
Yeah, it's the cost efficiency, right?
Yeah, I know. Everyone's like trained to be min-max.
And my bank alt's finally going to be level 90.
I know.
You've got Twitter questions over there,
We
Jeff,
got some
before
more.
we let go?
Yeah, this one comes from Black Dragon 84. Black Dragon wants to know, after putting Diablo 3 on the consoles, is there any chance of putting other Blizzard games on consoles? Obviously World of Warcraft people have always asked about that. After doing Diablo, you're doing Diablo for PS4. Are we going to see more Blizzard moving more in that direction, do you think?
Well, really our philosophy with console or any other platform has always been a game-by-game decision.
Right.
So what we really do is we make the game that we think is going to be really awesome, super fun, and then we figure out what platforms will it play great at. And with Diablo, it was really interesting because we made it as a PC game, and then about halfway through development, the team was really interested to see how it would play on console, and they did kind of a quick and dirty port just to see. And it was so much fun that then we decided, we should do this for real on console, and that's why we did it. And with Hearthstone, it was very much, hey, this game almost feels like a tablet game, so why don't we bring it there?
Yep.
So we really are going to make the decisions game by game, and at this point, I don't think we have any other plans to bring any of our other games to console, but certainly I could see us doing it if it made sense for a specific game.
The development team always said console would come after PC, yet we're seeing them both here at the same time. Is it because the process is easier, or you've been devoting more resources to your console title?
The biggest change really has been that now that we have Diablo on console, so when we did Diablo 3, we really wanted to focus on getting the PC version done, and we didn't want to slow it down by working on the console version. But now that we have the PC version out, and we have the console version out, it's a lot easier to kind of keep them a little bit closer in lockstep.
Are we looking day and date release, do you think?
Right now, I don't think we've decided completely, but I have a feeling the console is going to still lag behind.
Right.
And more than likely, not as far behind as it did the first time.
That'll be good news for players.
And is it going to come, I know you're showing PlayStation 4, will it come to Xbox as well, or just PlayStation for the new expansion?
We haven't completely decided yet,
Okay.
but we'll probably announce more plans on exactly what platforms we're going to do in the future.
All right, well, very cool to see you guys have, as you said, so many different games, so many different platforms. There's a lot for Blizzard fans here to go and play and go hands-on with, and more for the rest of the conference. Are we going to see any other panels from Rob Pardo throughout the next 2 days?
Yeah, so the other panel that I'm on is the Warcraft movie panel.
Okay.
And so we're doing the Warcraft movie panel tomorrow, and we're going to have Duncan Jones, the director, and Bill Westenhofer, the special effects supervisor, on stage, along with myself, Chris Metzen, and Nick Carpenter from Cinematics.
Getting ready to start filming that early next year, right?
Yeah, super exciting. Like it's hard to believe it's actually going to happen. But I mean, the way the film industry works, once they set a release date, you're going to have a film. So it's going to be a super exciting time.
Well, we can't wait to learn more about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Are you happy with where the movie is?
Yeah, it's a whole new business.
Right.
So don't know what I don't know. but I got to say, the team that they put together, I'm really excited about. Not only are they like talented people, the production designer, the special effects supervisor, the director, but most of them have actually played a lot of our products, including World of Warcraft.
All right, we got to go over to the World of Warcraft panel. All the information you want on the brand new expansion pack. We're going to head on over now for World of Warcraft, an inside deep dive. Check it out.
Those crazy comebacks, which can be so exciting. A team can be 2-0 up, and then they lose one game, and then they're like, well, maybe they figured us out. Maybe we need to change now. They start.
The World of Warcraft What's Next panel. Your panelists are Tom Chilton, Ian Hazakostas, Corey Stockton, and Greg Street.
What up, BlizzCon again? I'm so glad the opening's done. I did. What did you guys think about the announcement? Seriously, we're putting together, that art's not up there, we're putting together one of the most kick-ass expansion sets in a very long time. It's just, it's mighty. So the guys asked me to come with today. They're going to talk a lot about the systems of the game, what it's going to be, and they asked me to set it up a little bit. So I'm going to try and do this succinctly, because it's, as you might imagine, a little involved. Is that artwork ever going to be up on the screen? It's on our screen. They can't see that. We have the most kick-ass piece of artwork right here. So if that doesn't give you a little bit of an indication, Alex Horley did that for us. He's a bad, bad man. They just look like a 70s classic rock group from hell. Deep Purple. What were we talking about?
Warlords.
Warlords. Hello, you people, get into my room.
So why are we here, Chris?
Why are we here?
Expansion. How did
I want to serenade you from down here, Tommy. So let's talk a little bit about how did this happen. I'm just going to jump right into it. It's very involved. I'm sure you guys are going to have a lot of questions. We will get to them as we go through the weekend. We're going to do a lore panel at 2:30 this afternoon in Hall A. The predicating fiction of this expansion set is that after the events of the Siege of Orgrimmar, Garrosh was taken away in chains. We may or may not be doing a piece of fiction to talk about what happened immediately next. Suffice to say, Garrosh will be put on trial, and before the verdict can come down, he escapes. That bastard. That's what I was hoping you were going to vocalize. We've got you right where we want you. Pissed. Garrosh has a new friend who has, let's say, a unique ability to bend time. Garrosh goes back, crestfallen, upset. The world didn't work out quite the way he thought it might. And he hates the Horde now, with his coalition of mongrel races and trolls and elves, really? He hates this Horde and everything that Thrall ever stood for. And boy, does he hate the Alliance too. So he's gone back to the place and the time where the world made sense to him. Of course, going back kind of alters a little bit, but overarchingly, Garrosh's intent is to redeem the Orcish ideal as he sees it. This is a kid who grew up in Garradar, who grew up with the stories of his old man and all these other champions, right? They came up at that time and formed the first Horde, and he likes those stories. And he wants the Orcs to be proud again. He wants them to be conquerors and not encumbered by all these other races that he just doesn't understand why they're part of the Horde. And so that is where he has gone. And the most critical element of his mission is to stop the one moment, literally, that defined the history of Azeroth. He's going to stop the moment where the Orcs drink the blood of Manoroth. They will be uncursed. They will not be under the sway of the Burning Legion. But again, he will convince them that they must be a Horde, that there's conquering to be done. And he will build this Iron Horde. With all the chieftains of old, he will empower them with, don't panic, some of the technology and engineering that he loves from our present. Black iron machines, flamethrowers, I don't even know yet. Well, the guys know. Garrosh is going to build a very different kind of Horde, but its mission is the same. Using his little friend that we talked about earlier that can manipulate time, Garrosh is going to have them build a dark portal. And he is going to lead this Iron Horde through it. But his little friend has been given the task, of aligning it to our time. So the adventure of Warlords, for the most part, takes place in what we call Old Draenor. A fully realized world, right? Steeped in all the lore that's come before. We built it to heighten and maximize your sense of what Outland was, but this is a contiguous continent. It's got oceans. It's got beautiful skies. It's got giants. It's got monsters. What kind of world forges a race like the Orcs in the first place? It is a brutal place. And from the bones of this world, he would construct this army to enact his revenge on us. Having said all that, I'm sure many of you are thinking like, oh, God, don't tell us. Another Orc, really? Tell us this Orc is not the boss of the expansion set. We want to get ahead of it. He's not. Garrosh facilitates the storytelling. This was the natural flow. And while he will be heavily involved in the storytelling, he's not the guy. There's a guy behind the guy. Those of you who are astute may conclude very quickly who the guy might be, but we're going to let that ride for a little while longer. I guess I'd also like to tease as the panel goes. The end boss of this whole giddy up, as so far as we're thinking today, It won't just be an orc dude. Take that as you will. So, what do you guys think of anything I haven't said that we should say? Or have I said too much?
I think we're good. We'll take it.
Thinking.
I'm not going to do it. Come on. Meaning. We are in a space where we're trying to think very far ahead of the expansion sets we are currently working on. Although we can't get into it today for obvious reasons. How this one escalates and what happens at the end of this one, it's going to spill over into the next one. So as you guys call out names of characters you want to see, yeah, we want to see them too. So as usual, bear with us. I hope you guys are in for the long haul because we are. And we've got expansion sets galore kind of lined up in the queue like bullets in a 6-shooter. So please be patient with us. We will get to it all.
Thank you, Chris. All right, so what's up? You know, Chris has been talking about this expansion takes place on Draenor. And what is Draenor, right? This is a brand new continent. This is a new world. This is not the Outland that you guys know. Outland is that shattered remnant of the planet that once was Draenor. And so what we're getting to see here is what Draenor was back before all that stuff went down. This was the homeworld of the orcs. This was the heart of the Draenei civilization. And this is a brutal primal world of giants. It's got 7 new zones, you know, of course, all the bells and whistles you guys would expect. And we'll be talking about all those zones in more detail later on in the panel. What are you here to do? Well, you're here to defeat the Iron Horde. These guys have found a way, as a result of Kairos Dormu and his involvement, to connect this world of Draenor of 35 years in the past and have that portal that gets built up connect to our time. And we have an imminent invasion. So Grommash has united the orc clans. He's brought them all back together, or at least most of them. You'll have a say in some of that. There are some clans that may not join. They plan to take their army through the Dark Portal and destroy Azeroth. This can't happen. You've got to stop it. So next up, we have a map. So this is what the continent of Draenor looks like. Might be somewhat familiar. Obviously, there's that familiar kind of Euro shape on the eastern part of it. The place that we once knew as Hellfire Peninsula was at the time called Tanaan Jungle. We have Shadowmoon Valley, which, as we'll get to in a little bit, is an actual idyllic